Well, I want to be crystal clear. It is the UK government's position that we want to see two states. We want to see a secure and safe Israel, but the Palestinian cause and the desire for a state of their own is an admirable one that I would want to support. There can be no room for annexation, which would be illegal and quite out with of international law and international norms. So I've heard that talked about, but again, across the G7 that I've just come from, there was widespread concern about any suggestion of annexation, because annexation would run a coach and horses through the Oslo Accords and through our desire for a two-state solution to this problem.
If it goes ahead, what actions would we take in consequence?
I understand why you're pushing, of course I do, but I'm not going to engage in hypotheticals of that kind. I am going to do all I can to ensure that that does not happen.
Okay. Second question just relates to the ICC arrest warrants that took place. So in light of the arrest warrants and us standing by international law, which was absolutely the right decision, and respecting the international legal system, will you as Foreign Secretary and the officials continue to engage and meet with a man who is now wanted for war crimes?
Well, on the basis of what you've just said to me, there are two things that I'm holding at the same time. One is our obligations under the Statute of Rome and our powerful belief both in the rule of law and international humanitarian law. We have to wait in the coming days, weeks, for what they call a notes verbiale to make its way to our embassy so that we enforce or we get instructions that we are to enforce these warrants were they to arise. Under our legislation, Section 2 of the International Criminal Courts legislation, there is an obligation on me to transmit to the courts should those named seek to come into our country. That doesn't allow me any discretion. I will issue that, transmit that to the courts, and then the courts will make their determination under our law, recognising that we are signatories to the Statute of Rome, and these are very, very serious issues indeed.
Before we move on, though, I'm just thinking about the answer that you gave to Abdeslam. I just want to follow it up because I just think it's important. You were talking about in the G7 and about discussions, and presumably it has been raised. There's a possibility that there might be an illegal annexation. Even if you can't speculate, tell us, about sensitive conversations. Is there a plan B if Israel does try to annex?
Well, look, I want to keep hope alive. And what is the hope? The hope is that Israel is able to secure a normalization deal with Saudi Arabia. And as part of that normalization deal, there is a pathway to a Palestinian state and a two-state solution. And I think we all recognise that under President-elect Trump's presidency last time round, they were able to secure the Abraham Accords, and normalisation followed with countries like Bahrain, Morocco and UAE. It would be a great achievement if Saudi Arabia were able to secure that. But all of us who've been to the region know that that is impossible without two states and without that promise for the Palestinian people. And that is obviously where a lot of us will be focusing our attention over the coming months.
Forgive me, Abdeslam.
Okay, just to follow up. So you spoke earlier about holding you account or judging you by the deals that you will achieve. Will the recognition of a Palestinian state be amongst those deals?
Well, I've said that if we get normalization, then by definition, I suspect we are on a path to that two states. And we have said that that recognition is a tool. It doesn't deliver that end, but it's an important stepping stone on the road. So, for example, you could see recognition alongside a deal of that kind.